look at last night's game, what were the positives you can take from it?
I think what we demonstrated is we do have the ability to skate. We can play more of a puck possession game. Our special teams were very noticeable, and our young players made a contribution. So I think there's lots of positives to bring out of it. Now obviously the negative is we lost the hockey game, and we lost on a bad bounce, and we made some mistakes in the game structurally that if we continue to make them, it's going to be difficult for us to find ways to win with all the positives I just described. So there are things we have to look at, and we have to make sure that we're prepared to make some of the adjustments that are necessary for our next game.
Randy, can you put a finger on what went wrong in the second period when the momentum kind of got away from you? Was there any one thing, or was it just a matter of...
I call it puck support and turnovers. We didn't support the puck on our breakouts. We didn't support the puck through the neutral ice, and we turned the puck over, and we gave them an opportunity to get their skating game going, their forecheck game, and they created more off their offensive zone cycles. But we were still in the hockey game. You know, it was a 2-1 game, and we found a way to get through it, and that's a good sign. But again, we'd rather play to a higher brand of hockey than we did in our second period, that's for sure.
Randy, Bozak was just saying, you know, the top line wasn't happy with how they played last night. Do you think that maybe there's an impact there with Phil and Tyler missing some time late in camp with those lower body injuries, or?
Well, that's always, you know, you can always look to things like that, but it's part of their responsibility to play to a higher level. There's things that they have to do, and it's not always on the ice. It could be off the ice as far as keeping themselves, and there's a program in place with our strength and conditioning guys that when you're injured, it doesn't mean you have days off. You have injured days, but there is treatment and there is off-ice workouts that are to be adhered to, and we have to make sure that they take that seriously. And not saying they didn't take it seriously, I'm just saying those are the areas which you're going to reflect back on, and specifically as a player, you've got to understand that there are certain things that you might have to change and do.
When they get matched up against the other top line in a power-on-power type situation, does the mindset for them have to change at all in terms of how they approach it?
Well, I think it has to change in some games, and I think last night was a prime example of some of the things that they were trying to accomplish through the neutral ice, and the turnovers that were created cost us momentum in the game. And that's why they're feeling, because if you look at it in last night's hockey game, they played a lot of the game in our zone.
Franklin available for Saturday at this point?
We're looking at that as a possibility. He skated today this morning with Ashton and Levo prior to the workout.
What about Clarkson? What did you think of his game, getting the opportunity to be on the power play and such? Is that good for his confidence?
Well, we think that's a huge boost for Clarkie. I think that, you know, over the last week of practice prior to, we would say it would be the last week of training camp and working in the scrimmages and the practices, his level of practice went way up. And we feel that putting him in those situations and giving him the second power play unit in the front of the net area, that's where he's had success before, and it has demonstrated into a more confident David Clarkson, but it's only one game.
Perhaps compromise entrance into your offensive zone on that power play, especially with the 4-minute availability that you got?
Yeah, well, we have some tendencies that I'd say we'd like to change, and always going up to one side, we could go up the other side. That again was part of our second period where we weren't real happy with our execution level, and we were more of a, we were more, I would say, mistake prone to handling the puck and making the plays and following our routes, and that included the power play.
Did you like the element of speed that you had on all four lines, being able to roll one after
I think
another?
it was definitely evident, but I think we played a team that tries to do the same thing. I think that, you know, if you look at our group last night, that we had a contribution from everybody in our lineup, and we're just going to have to play to a higher level and continue to grow our group. We made some mistakes, and some young players made some mistakes, but along the young players had their first taste of the NHL, so we're not going to get too excited or upset about it. We're going to try and grow this group and continue to go forward in the method that we think we can play a skating game, an up-tempo game, and we firmly believe that, and we're going to play our 9 forwards and possibly our 12 forwards on an equal basis in which we think and determine in the game that'll give us the best chance for success.